This video will show you how to review and approve an info session. To reduce miscommunication, we don't create info sessions on behalf of companies, so we'll start by going to the pending bin. And here we'll click on New Information Session Request. For today's training, we're going to use this information session, which was set up under the Bilbo Baggins Fake Company, and all we need to do is click Review. This is always what it will look like when you process a new information session request. We're going to run through the different fields to help you understand what each one means, but for the most part you won't be editing much of this document. First is simply the employer or the company name. The contact is the person that actually created the information session. Unless otherwise informed, this is the person you as the recruiting coordinator will be in contact with in the whole recruiting process. Next is event type. There are several different event types other than information sessions, but we aren't going to train you on any of those other events at this time. This is the description. The information session description is displayed to students, so be sure to encourage the company to fill this out. Next is majors targeted. A company can go in and select certain majors that they are targeting for this information session. On the bridge, this function will help students figure out quickly which information sessions they should be going to according to relevancy. If we scroll down a little bit, we're going to focus on this part right here, position type. Position type is fairly self-explanatory. The position will either be full-time, which is post-graduation, or an internship. This part right here, the equipment request, it is important to look at the equipment request because depending on how big or popular the company is, and depending on what kind of equipment they want, we will assign their event to a certain room, most commonly in the Tanner Building or the Wilkinson Center. If the info session is in the Wilk, you will need to order the equipment in addition to scheduling the room. Down here at the bottom, the date and time preferences. This part of the form is important because it will have three preference dates that the employer has chosen. Recruiting coordinators have the responsibility to make sure conflicting events are avoided. To do this, we check the academic calendar, check to see if there's any major events that evening, and check to make sure that we don't have too many info sessions that day, especially with companies looking to hire from the same exact field of study. And right below it, time of info session, again, very self-explanatory. Let's scroll down a little bit farther. Here we get into the admin info. We will need to fill out everything according to the information we collected above. We need to choose a room, which for today's purposes, we will choose to be determined since it is a fake event. Any other time though, you will need to submit a room request to campus scheduling or the dean's office depending on which room you're requesting. Now remember to make sure you schedule the room for half an hour before the actual event start and half an hour after the end time. Right here you will need to make sure that the date, the actual event start time, and the actual event end time are correct so that the information syncs to our Outlook calendar correctly. Next is RSVP. We want to allow students to RSVP simply so that the recruiter knows how much catering to order and so that we know what size of venue we need to schedule. Down here we typically don't limit visibility or RSVP, so when all this is done, hit approve and then hit submit. After this happens, there will be an automatic email sent to the recruiter. This will tell them the time and location, automatically including the memo that you booked the room a half an hour prior and after the actual event time.